Hey all, welcome to class. My name is Michelle. Thank you so much for joining me here. For today's practice, all you need is yourself and your mat. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and find a comfortable seat on your mat. So go ahead and close down the eyes. Sit nice and tall. Relax through the shoulders, through the face. Relax through the forehead. Relax through the jaw. And take a moment to become aware of your surroundings. Take a moment to feel where you are. And throughout this practice, see if you can leave the past behind and see if you can stay away from thinking about the future. Notice if you can stay here. Keep the awareness on the movement, on the stillness, or on the breath. Let's open the practice with the mantra Om. Bring the hands together, palms touching. Let's exhale the air out. Inhale for our Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And relax the hands back down. Take a moment to become aware of the breath. If you'd like, you can place one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. And just becoming aware of it is enough. And keep the body soft. See if you can slow it down a little bit. Most of us tend to breathe a little bit too much, a little bit more than we need. So it's good that we focus on slowing down. It's good that we focus on staying softer and more relaxed in the abdomen, so we can breathe smoothly. Keep the awareness on the breath as we gently find our way to a wide fold. So take the legs wide. Upavishta Konasana. Turn the toes up. Sit upright. And every time we move in these positions, see if the movement can come from the hips. So take the hands behind you. Really prop yourself up. And then lean the chest forwards, but let the belly button come forwards first. So rather than rounding forwards, try to stay nice and neutral with the spine as you lean out. And since this is the start of the practice, feel free to move a little bit side to side. Maybe you reach towards one foot and then the other. Slowly opening up, exploring, seeing what it feels like today. Right now it's morning for me, so I'm a little bit tighter. So it's good to see where we are. It's good to notice that we can find a little bit of space. Just these few moments of movement can be enough for us to open up and just to get all that sleep out of the muscles, if you will. Take a moment somewhere in the center. If you want, you can grab hold of the toes and gently pull yourself forwards, or simply reach the hands forwards. Still, try to keep a long spine. Try to keep that movement focused in the hips, in the muscles that we are working with. And then gently come back through center. Let's bring the left foot in. Setting up for a gentle Janu Shirsasana. Let's take the twisted variation here. So, right elbow inside of the knee or inside of the thigh. Left arm goes behind you, up and overhead, alongside the right leg. And keep the twist here. Try to keep the body grounded, keep the sit bones evenly placed on the mat. Focus on twisting open and reaching. Don't worry about whether or not the foot is within reach. Think about opening, finding space in the side body. Maybe you can feel the stretch all the way from the elbow to the sit bones. And then softly lift yourself up. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So take the left leg back out, bring the right foot in. And again, this time left elbow just on the inside of the leg. Right arm goes all the way up and over. Really find some space there. You can breathe into it as well. Every time you inhale, see if you can expand a little bit more, and every time you exhale, can you go a little bit lower? Keep focusing on the twist. You can use the left elbow to sort of force yourself open. Maybe forcing isn't the right word, just a little bit of pressure. And then gently lift yourself upright. Now let's roll onto our backs. We'll start with a little bit of core activation here, mainly the transverse abdominis, the one core muscle that sort of crosses throughout the belly. So bring the heels in, have the knees upright. And then most important part for this one is that the lower back stays grounded and stays in touch with the floor. So in order to do that, we can maybe lift the heels up a little bit, really feel that connection, and focus on the core here. Gently lift the toes up, maybe just an inch or a centimeter, whatever works for you. Now keep the belly in and gently reach the feet away. Keep hovering them just barely off the mat and keep the lower back grounded. Now just pause there. Nothing too strong, but over time you'll feel the core build up here. If you want to, take one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest again. Notice where the breath is going. Otherwise, just keep the arms beside the hips. Stay nice and soft for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let the feet land for a moment. Wriggle the hips. Feel where the movement is coming from. And when you're ready, set up for round number 2. Lift the heels, flatten the lower back. Lift the toes. Now reach the feet just a little bit further away. Keep flattening the spine. The head and the shoulders can be soft here. And just hold. For 5, for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax it down. One more round to go. Take a little break in between. Again, a little bit of wriggling in the hips always helps me. And then when you're ready, lift the heels, lift the feet. Reach them even further away, but keep that contact with the earth. Notice that you have to breathe a little bit more into the chest here. This is the kind of movement that we are talking about when we say tuck the tailbone. We're squeezing in a little bit through the front. We're not really tucking the tailbone all the way under, but we're engaging the core just enough. Hold it for another 5, 4, 3. Keep it nice and flat. 2, 1. And release. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Maybe roll side to side. Give yourself a little massage. And when you're ready, rock forwards and backwards once or twice. Cross the legs. Plant the hands. And let's step back. Downward facing dog. Paddle through the feet. Stretch a little bit through the calves, through the hamstrings. And stay nice and long through the shoulders. Again, there is weight in the shoulders, so they can be shrugged up. Muscular activation protects the joint. So take a moment, reconnect with the breath, find some stillness. Let the neck be soft, but keep gripping the mat with the fingers. And then very softly tiptoe the feet all the way towards the top. Take a moment here. Maybe grab hold of opposite elbows. Take a moment to lengthen through the spine. Release some pressure from the lower back. Let go of the elbows and softly roll all the way up to standing. Maybe shake it out for a moment, twist it side to side, and whenever you're ready, step the left foot back. Square the hips. We'll find our first high lunge here. So maybe it's nice to bend a little bit into the back knee, adjust the hips, and then again this flattening of the lower spine. Squeeze the front in, hip bones and ribs move towards one another, and then maybe we can send the back heel away. Feel the stretch in the front of the hip flexes, and let's reach the arms up and above. Keep the shoulders a little bit soft, and we'll just hold for a moment. Sink a little bit lower into the front knee. Keep the legs fired up. Stronger our base, the softer we can have the rest of the body. Two more breaths here. And then gently lower the hands either side of that front foot. Step back to a high plank pose. And then knees, chest, and chin. Pull forwards into cobra. And roll backwards into downward facing dog. Just very gentle at the start. Bend the knees, look long. Step the feet all the way up towards the top. And once again, roll all the way up towards standing. And step the other foot back. Right foot steps back. Again, square the hips. Bend into the back knee. Hip bones and ribs move towards one another, really firing it up. Glutes are strong as well. And then the back heel moves away. Arms can be up. And soften into it. See if you can find your drishti. Usually we only do this with balance poses, but it's a really nice way to find some stillness, to find some concentration here. Steady breaths as you softly sink lower and lower. Enjoy the moment here. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Hands either side of the foot, step back to your high plank. Knees, chest and chin down, pull forwards into up, and roll backwards into down dog. Bend the knees, look long, and step or jump the feet up towards the top. Find the halfway lift this time. As you exhale, fold back down, Uttanasana. Reach the arms alongside the ears, come all the way up to standing, and release the arms. Let's find a little bit of movement in the spine. A lot of times we're a little bit tight there, so let's pay a little bit of extra attention to it. Keep the feet about hip width distance apart. I'll show you this from the side. We'll do some spinal waves. The idea is that we move the spine in a snake-like motion or a wave-like motion, if you will. And all the movement comes mostly from the hips and the shoulders. Let the head come forwards and allow everything else to follow. The head comes backwards. And feel what the hips are doing here. So you gently pretend to be a snake. Notice if the hips are moving. Notice if there's any tightness in any particular spots in the spine. I know for me, I don't know if you can hear this with this plane coming over, but I know for me, there's a little bit of tightness in the middle to upper back. It's because I sit a lot behind a desk, or I used to sit a lot. So it's really nice to find some expansion there, some movement. Find some stillness. Now I personally prefer to lead from the hips, so let's give that a try as well. Let the hips come forward and pretend that you're leading with the tailbone. So the tailbone tucks under as you go forwards, and it really sticks out as you go backwards. And everything else just follows. Go the chest and the shoulders open and close, just to find movement there. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you can find some space. And then gently come back to stillness. Really good way to keep the spine moving, to keep the spine from locking up. Just to keep it supple and lubricated, if you will. Let's come back to the top of the mat. As we inhale, reach the arms up. As we exhale, fold down deep, Uttanasana. Find the halfway lift straight away, breathe in. As you exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back and lift the hips downward, facing dog. Let's find some strength, let's find some heat. So bend the knees, look long. Step or jump the feet to the outside of the hands. Find your active squat, reach the hands forwards, and exhale, hands to heart, stand up. Inhale, reach it up. Then exhale, back to your active squat, plant the hands, step or jump back. Plank with a push-up or chaturanga and straight up. Knees and elbows down. Pull forwards to up dog, really point the toes. And then roll the hips up and back. Downward facing dog, bend the knees, look long, same thing. Feet to the outside of the hands, active squat. Stand up as you exhale, reach up as you inhale. Sit back down on the exhalation, plant the hands. Chaturanga to plank, knees, elbows, pull forwards, upward facing dog, and roll backwards. Downward facing dog. 3 is the chance, so 1 more, bend knees, look long. As you exhale, feet to the outside of the hands. Exhale next, stand up. Inhale up. Exhale, sit back down. Plant the hands. And keep flowing. Knees and elbows. Upward facing. And roll back. Downward facing. Let's lift the right leg up to the sky. 3-legged dog, and then very gently step it all the way forwards in between the hands. Find your high lunge. This time keep the back leg straight right from the start. Reach the arms up, hold for a moment. Really pull the front heel in so you can find a little bit of activation in the hamstring. And then right hand on the belly, left hand on the lower back. Let's find warrior 3. Reach the chest out, float the back leg up. Try to keep the spine nice and flat. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very gently let the back toes land, drop the knee, find a low crescent lunge, reach the arms up. I like to interlace them here. And then gently lower the hands, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and shift the hips up and back as we find pyramid. Turn the front toes up if you will. Work a little bit more into the hamstring. Shift back forwards, plant the hands. 3-legged dog from here all the way up. And then straight into up dog. So pull yourself towards the thumbs and then lift the chest. And roll back. Downward face. And left leg up to the sky straight away. Find some length. And then step it forwards. Find high lunge. Reach the arms up. Fire up the legs. Take a moment to soften through the chest. Breathe steadily. And then left hand on the belly, right hand on the lower back. Virabhadrasana 3. Float the back foot up. Reach the chest out. Think cobra. Find your balance. For 3. For 2. For 1. And gently land the back foot and knee. Glide the hips forwards and down. Open it up. Open the heart up to the sky. And then plant the hands. I'd like to just use the fingertips. Find your way to pyramid pose. The more we point up the toes of the left foot here, the easier it is to find a stretch in the hamstring. Maybe you don't need it. You can keep it down. It might be nice to just intensify it a little bit. Shift back forwards. Find your way back to 3-legged dog. Left leg goes all the way up and back. And then pull forward straight into up dog. Strong through the arms here. Open through the chest. And once again, roll back. Downward. Facing dog. Right leg up to the sky. Step it forwards. Keep the back knee bent this time. As you lift yourself up, reach the arms up. Bring the palms to touch thumbs to the back of the skull. As you inhale, straighten the leg or left leg and open. As you exhale, right hand belly, left hand lower back. Warrior 3, shift forwards. 3, 2, 1. Let the back foot land. Drop the knee low, crescent lunge, deep breath in. As you exhale, find pyramid pose. Lengthen through the front leg, but keep the left hip forwards a little bit. Feel the difference. And then shift forwards. 3-legged dog. And then pull towards the top. Into up dog. Roll back. Downward facing. Left leg up to the sky. Step it forwards. Stag lunge or bent knee lunge. Palms together, thumbs to the back of the skull. As you inhale, lengthen, open through the chest, straighten through the back leg. Enjoy this plane up above. And then left hand on the belly, right hand on the lower back, shift forwards. Find your balance. Maybe straighten the standing leg a little bit more. For 3, for 2, for 1. Drop the back knee. Low crescent lunge. Inhale as you open up through the chest. Find space in the heart. And as you exhale, pyramid pose. Your variation here. You shift forwards. Plant the hands, 3-legged dog. Pull towards the top. Into up dog. And roll back into downward facing dog. Take a moment in down dog, or if you prefer, find child's pose. Let the shoulders rest. Let the hips soften. Reconnect with the breath. If you're in down dog, keep pressing yourself away from the mat. You want to find some distance. If you're in child's pose, keep bringing yourself closer to the mat. And whenever you're ready, wherever you come from, find your way to a prone position. Drop the belly down. Let's take the fingertips a little bit wider than mat with distance. We'll gently roll the spine up into cobra. We'll hold here for a moment. We've already found a little bit of space here. If you prefer, you can have the hands flat. Keep pulling the belly button in, and with the arms, pull the heart forwards. You're really finding some space and some stretch in the upper back, in the middle back. If you feel this in the lower back, ease off a little bit. If you want to keep going, bend through the left knee and look that way as well. Gentle twist, and then change sides. Bend through the right, look towards the right. Bring it back. Hold for another moment here. Try to keep the shoulders soft. I know they're supporting you. You can still allow them to stay low. Prevent them from shrugging all the way up. And softly roll back down. Take a moment here. Wriggle the hips, let the head rest on the hands. And bring the feet together. We'll set up for locust pose. So bring the arms beside the hips. We'll go straight away into the full version. Float the knees especially. Let the arms and peel the chest up. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Think about bringing the back of the head towards the tailbone. Open through the chest. If you want to, you can bring the arms out into a T. Lift them up. You can interlace them. Whatever works for you. For another 5. 4. Squeeze the bum. Lift the knees. 3. 2. And on 1. And gently release. Wriggle the hips once again. Take a moment here. And then plant the hands either side of the shoulder. Pretend you're going to do a push-up. And then, well, actually, let's do a push-up. Back to plank pose. Strong through the arms. And really feel the shoulder blades move away from one another. Then from there, keep the toes tucked as you lower the hips into upward facing. A little bit different here. Stay long through the arms. Let's work a little bit with the core. As you exhale, squeeze everything in back to plank pose. Let's find a little bit of speed with that. As you inhale, drop the belly and squeeze all the air out as you come back. Nice and quickly. Inhale, drop. Squeeze as you exhale. 3 more. Inhale. Squeeze as you exhale. Inhale. Squeeze. Inhale. And squeeze. I think that's 3. Let's do 1 for good measure. Inhale. Squeeze. Roll the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Let's lift the right leg up to the sky. Step the foot forwards in between the hands. Find your high lunge. Once again, square the hips, lift the arms. And then drop the back heel, warrior 2. Open up to the side. Maybe we wiggle the front foot in towards the center line of the mat. Sit nice and low. A soft gaze over the front hand. Once again, reconnect with the breath as we hold it here for another 3. Another 2. And 1. Flip the front palm, keep the hips nice and low. As you reach the right arm up towards the sky, left hand can rest on the back leg. Maybe come onto the lower back. The hips don't move here, but let's come back to warrior 2. Reach out. Gently place the right elbow on the knee. Left arm goes nice and long. Try to find a long line. Fingertips all the way towards the outside of the foot. So think about dropping the hips a little bit. If you want to, right hand can come towards the floor. For 3, for 2, for 1. Lift yourself back up. Let's find Trikonasana. If you want to, wriggle the front foot in. I like to come into it by sassing the hips. So that the right hip come backwards, left hip forwards just a little bit as you reach out. And then stack the arms and the shoulders. Feel the stretch in the hamstring. And then think about rolling the left hip on top. Look up or sideways. Again, have the movement come from the hips, so rather than leaning all the way down, think about tilting from the hips to touch more. For 3, for 2, for 1. Lift yourself back up, turn the toes in, heels out, face sideways. Let's find a wide fold, but standing this time. Take the hands onto the hips. I always like to have the thumbs behind them, so you can really press it forwards. As we stay long through the legs, find your way to about halfway. If you want to bring the hands to heart center, pause here for a moment. Keep firing up the legs, keep dropping the belly. Find cobra or locust with the chest. Hold nice and long. Your torso has a little bit of a weight to it. This will help with the stretch. If you're struggling with the seated version of this, try this one. If you want to, you can use your fingertips to support whatever works for you. Listen to your body and adapt your practice to that. Whenever you're ready, plant the hands and walk them towards the top of the mat. Step back to high plank pose. Knees, chest, and chin down. Pull forwards, cobra or up dog, and roll back, downward facing. Left leg up towards the sky, and then step the foot in between the hands. Brief moment here in our high lunge. Settle into it, fire up through the glutes, maybe look up. Think about reaching the fingertips away from the hips. And the back heel drops. Arms open, Virabhadrasana 2, front heel in line with the back arch. Bend a little bit more into the front knee. Really take a nice and wide stance there. Press the outside edge of the back foot into the floor. Think about opening up. And then flip the left palm, reach it all the way up. The right hand can rest on the leg. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up, reach forwards. Left elbow on left knee. Right arm nice and long. Lower the hips. If you want to, you can even use that elbow to twist, open, and look up. For 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. Come back to warrior 2 for a moment. And straighten the front leg. Wriggle the back foot in if you did so on the first side. Sass the hips, reach the left arm nice and long. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Come back to the breath. Keep the awareness on the practice, on the pose, on the breath, whatever helps you stay grounded. And then gently lift yourself back up, turn the toes in, heels out. This time take your variation. You can come back to a halfway fold here, or if you prefer, place the hands down and really let the crown of the head come towards the mat. Grab hold of the big toes, grab hold of the ankles, whatever floats your boat. Let's begin to slow down a little bit here. Relax, soften. Maybe close the eyes even. Take 3 more breaths here. And very gently place the hands on the mat, walk them up towards the top, step back to high plank pose. Knees, chest and chin down. Keep the arms in close as you pull forwards into cobra. And then roll backwards into downward facing. Then the knees look long. Step or jump the feet to the top. Find a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Gently roll the spine all the way up. Notice the space that we've created. Notice the openness in the body. Let's see if we can find a little bit more balance. Utthita Hasta Parangushtasana. I don't even know what the English translation for this is. But see if you can bring the right knee in towards the chest. Pull it in, find your balance. You can keep holding on to the knee, or if you want to, grab hold of the big toe with the peace fingers. Stand nice and tall, and then straighten the leg out if you have hold of the foot. If your balance is stable, you can open up towards the side. Lifted leg doesn't need to be straight. It's your practice. This is not some Instagram modeling. Your balance doesn't need to be perfect. Every time you wobble, the brain learns. Then gently bring it back through center. And can you release the hand, but keep the foot where it is for 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands to heart center, warrior 3. Extend the leg all the way back behind you. Again, think cobra. And then softly land the right foot, setting up for a more classical pyramid pose. So just about 1 stride apart with the feet, hips square towards the top of the mat. Again, movement comes from the hips. Tilt it forwards. Feel the hamstrings stretch. Maybe bring the hands to heart center. You can gently let them rest on the shin or on the knee, or if you have a block here. Even if you're resting on it, try not to dump the weight into it. Always think about holding the pose with the body strength as much as possible here. Again, the chest is reaching out, so we have some weight that's pulling on the hamstring. It's a really nice way to find some space there. 3 more breaths here. Maybe bring the right hip forwards a touch. Feel it on the outside. Very gently find your way back to Tadasana. Step up towards the top. Shake it out through the legs. And then find balance on the other side. Lift the left knee up. Stand proud. When you have your balance, and you did so on the first side, grab hold of the big toe, straighten the leg out in front. And then open up. Steady breath is a steady mind. And a steady mind means we have a better balance. Bring the foot back through center and release it with the hand, but keep it in place. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands to heart center. Left leg goes all the way back. Warrior 3. Reach the chest out, maybe straighten standing leg a little bit more. And then gently land the back foot, setting up for another pyramid pose. The feet are hip width distance, so we're not in one straight line. Tilt from the hips, lean the chest out. Place the hands wherever feels most comfortable for you. You can even interlace them behind the back, or maybe do reverse prayer. If you want to, you can place them on the floor and round a little bit. It just depends on what you want to get out of your practice. Three more breaths here. Very softly lift yourself up and step back up towards the top. Shake it out through the legs. Widen the feet, toes out, heels in slightly, and sit down into your malasana. Wriggle the hips. Find some space. If you have no space there, you can find some stillness. Just do what works for you. And press the elbows and the inside of the knees to open it up a little bit more, but think about sitting upright. You can lift the heels, sit on the toes, or put something underneath the heels. A little bit of help there. And from there, let's find a lizard pose. Step the right foot all the way back. Keep the left foot where it is. Land the right knee. Take a moment here and find your variation. I'd like to turn the front toes out, come onto the knife edge or the outside edge of the foot. And since we did do some leg work, it might be nice to stretch out the quadriceps, the front of the thigh. You can reach for the back foot. Use a strap if you need to. Think about pulling it in and gliding the hips forwards and down. It's kind of like multitasking. That's all right. Keep opening the chest and soften into it. 5 long breaths. Think about slowing it down. And after 5 breaths, release the back foot if that's your option. Lower it down. And let's find a wide variation of Ardha Hanuman. Shift the hips back, straighten through the left leg. Turn the toes up to find the stretch a little bit easier. And then again, tilt from the hips. Maybe you're still upright here. Maybe you can lean forwards. But think about hip bones coming towards the toes. Think about belly button towards the top of the mat. Reach out forwards with the chest. For 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. And 1. Whenever you're ready, find your way back to Malasana. Shift forwards, right foot to the outside of the hand. Sit down for a moment. Feel left and right. Feel the difference. And when you're done feeling the difference, step the left foot all the way back. Drop the knee. Set yourself up for Uttan Prishthasana on the other side. Same variation to balance out the body. Turn the toes out. Let the knee fall out. And maybe reach for the back foot. Keep softening the hips down. behind you if you will. Five more breaths here. And softly release the back foot. Ardha Hanuman, our half split. Shift the hips back, turn the toes up. And again, tilt from the hips. Find your variation here. And people often say, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga. But if you're not as flexible as some of the people that you look up to, you actually have it easier, because it's a lot easier to find the stretch. It's a lot easier to find that deep sensation. So you have more to focus on. The more sensation there is, the easier it is to keep the focus there. Some super flexible people, they might struggle with that. 2 more breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, shift forwards. Step to the top, malasana. One more moment here. And then gently sit. Let's come back to our wide fold. We'll hold it for a moment longer this time. So turn the toes up. Let's come into it a little bit more actively. Engage through the thighs, lift the kneecaps. And let's reach the arms out forward as you lean out. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe you can go really far. Whatever it is, keep yourself hovering off the floor. Keep pressing the heels down to lift you up, but keep leaning out so you can go down. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we can lower. We can release. We can find the yin expression of the pose where we can soften. Relax the legs. You can let the toes fall open and out if that's your thing. You can keep them pointed up. Relax into it. Surrender to the pose. We've warmed up the hips quite a lot. When the muscles are warm, they stretch just a little bit easier. And if you're practicing this in winter, somewhere cold, a quick and easy tip to improve your stretching is to just move to a warm country. That'll help you a lot, promise you. If you don't have that option, just wait a bit. I sometimes like to take a hot shower before, actually. Take a really hot shower, a little bit of movement, and then some nice deep stretching. Really open it up. 5 more breaths here. Find some stillness in the mind by accepting whatever the present moment is for you. Walk the hands back in. Lift yourself up. And bring the knees in towards the chest. Hug them in close. Lift the chest. And then as you exhale, round it down. Maybe let the forehead rest on the knees or on the forearms. And then softly roll onto your back. Lift the feet off the floor. Have the knees roughly over the hips. Arms out into a T. And then as slowly as you can, without crunching your microphone if you have one, let the knees fall over towards the right side very slowly. Control it on your way down. Feel the core work, keep the shoulders grounded. And then eventually we can soften. Enjoy the twist. Let the body soften here. Let the tension fade away from the lower back, from the spine. And then come back through center the same way, so very slowly. Lift the knees all the way up through center, and then control them on the way down to the other side. Very slowly. 3, 2, and 1. Let them land. Maybe send the top hip away from the chest to find a little bit more space. Begin to soften through the forehead. Begin to soften through the face. Breathe gently. Breathe deeply. Last bit of active stuff in the class is to come back through center. So very slowly, with control, roll back. And then hug the knees in towards the chest. If you want to, take a happy baby. Grab hold of the feet or the toes. Pull the knees towards the armpit. Gently roll side to side for a moment. And then whenever you're ready, find your way to Shavasana. Maybe feet together, or the soles of the feet touching with one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. Maybe the legs are extended. Do whatever you need to do to relax here. This is about moving away from the body, letting it rest, and becoming aware of the mind. Softening there, releasing everything that we are holding on to. Take another deep breath in through the nose. And as slow as you can, let the air escape. Surrender to whatever comes to mind. Take some extra time here in Shavasana. Take some time to unwind and to let go. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste.